of Dave's Tackle Box.
Hello, good evening, welcome to Dave's Tackle Box on Sunday the 2nd of September 2012. I'm Dave. It's pretty obvious really. Tonight we're going to be joined by Dugie in a little while, and we're going to be having a look at a thing called what we're calling the Mini Vivi Nova tank, because it's small and it's a Vivi Nova tank. So we've got a little bit of VT on that, and we're going to be sort of swapping notes and seeing what we think of those things. If you want a little sneak preview, he looks like one of them. It's alright, isn't it? So we've got that coming up. Towards the end of the show, I've managed to edit what I got from Vapefest 2012, and it's not really the best coverage I've got, which was partly alcohol induced and partly because I didn't try that hard this year actually. But if you were at Vapefest, or you were interested in sort of trying to capture the flavour of Vapefest 2012, I think it'll be good for that. There's certainly some stuff worth seeing, especially if you like Dugie. I cannot comment at this stage whether, there's any sort of compromising footage in there. What I can say is that, I recorded a couple of interviews and the audio was no good. But some of them were okay, so I've put those in. Yeah, so we've got it's about 10 minutes or something. And yeah, hopefully it'll be nostalgic for those that were there and give those that weren't a flavour of what's going on. So before we actually sort of crack on with the show, what I'd like to do on the subject of sort of vape fests and meets and what have you, I've been mentioning for a little while now on this show that UK Vape Fest is over for 2012, but that's not the end. There's more stuff happening. So what I'm going to do now is just remind you of a couple of things that are going on. The first one is, and I'm just going to pop up this URL on the screen here. That's www.vapefestireland.weebly.com. The Vapefest Ireland, as it's being called, is taking place in less than 2 weeks' time on the 15th of September in Abbeyleix, which is right in the middle of Ireland. Personally, I'm flying to Dublin and then driving down. It's going to be great. The list of raffle prizes and stuff that Shane, who's organising it, has got together is pretty darn impressive. I believe he's got people coming from the US, and it's going to be a good event. It's going to be a big event, and I'm going to be there, and so is Mr. Dawn. So if you want to get yourself along to that, I and Dave, and I'm sure Shane would be very pleased to see you there. So that's that one. Then there's another one coming up, another meet from and this one is the Knees Up, Knees being NEES, North East E-Smokers. So this one's on the 13th of October, in a place called the Rattler. So if you're in the sort of northeast, you might be interested in this, and we've got a little short sort of promo for that, so watch this. So that is the Knees Up, and that's scheduled for the 13th of October. It's a Saturday, and that's in South Shields, which is almost in Scotland. It's a Newcastle, YI man. If you want some more details on that one, then go to our forum.vaportrials.tv, and you can ask any questions, and there's a thread going on there with some details about it. And guess what, that's another one that I'll be going to, I would hope. In fact, I'm pretty sure. I think it's a pretty safe bet. So yeah, just a couple of little plugs there for the meets that are coming up. I'm always keen to promote vape meets because I enjoy them, and I know you will too if you go. Simple as that, really. But let's get on with tonight's main sort of features, and we're going to start with the Dugie and Dave thing again. So at Vapefest last week, Dugie came over to me and said, "Oh, I've been speaking to a guy who goes on the forum by the name of Bathy. His real name's Stephen Bath. He runs a company called Vaporstall.com, and he had in his hands 2 of these mini tanks, and Stephen Bath had asked if we would like to review them for you guys. So we said, yeah, we'd love to do that. So here it is. Going to start this little sort of sequence with footage that Dugie recorded. This is what he thought of the Vision Mini Nova. Enjoy.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you've all had a fun weekend. While I was at Vapefest, I was approached by Stephen from Vapestall, and he handed me a couple of the Mini Vision Vivi Novas, and said, you know, there's one for yourself and one for Dave. Maybe you could possibly use it on the show if you wanted to. If not, no problem. But we thought, why not? You know, we've covered the other Visions. We had a mixed bag, so I was, you know, quite interested to see if anything's changed. And this is the little one, the little fella, as I call him. What we'll do, I'll go to a close-up shot and we'll take a look in a little bit more detail and how you go about filling it. Okay, so the Mini Vision Vivi Nova. Like I say, we was lucky to be handed this at Vapefest. Myself and Dave got one, and it's from Vaporstall. What's the URL? Vaporstall.co.uk. So thank you very much to Stephen. So what do you get in the pack? Move them out of the way. Basically, it's similar to if you've ever had any of the other Visions. You get your tank, a drip tip. There is a wicking coil already installed on the inside. This one that's on the inside is the 2.4 ohm. You also get a spare 1.8 ohm and a 2.8 ohm, but I just went with, because I've been using this, I just used what was in it, which was the 2.4 ohm. Now I'll just take this out. I do have, if that doesn't roll away, I do have one of the other Visions, and I think this is the version 2, this bigger one, and the changeable heads from the version 2 will actually fit the Mini, but obviously they're the shorter wick ones, which I don't really think performs very well. I preferred the longer wicks on the V1 of this. But an interesting point, you know, you can actually use the V2 short wicks inside the Mini if you wanted to. So, I mean, the design's changed yet again. Obviously it's a smaller tank, a lot thinner, thicker end caps on it, and there's actually, if I unscrew this, there's quite a well, if I can get it in, where your juice will sit, and as you can see the wicks sit right in the bottom, so it will suck that juice up. And also, I'm hoping you're going to pick this up, I'll pop them out. On each side there's actually 4 strands of wick. On the original V1, the bigger one, there was only, I think there was 2 either side, so they're giving us extra wicks there to help with, I mean, I found there was wicking issues, so they've put extra on here, so you know, so that's 4 one side, 4 the other, so 8 little strands of wick each. Now you have to pop these, push them in, so you can get the top back on. Okay, so I'll just put the top on and screw that in. So you just, like I say, you push them into the little well that's at the bottom and then screw it in so they don't get trapped. Now the drip tip that comes with it is just a little black 510 plastic drip tip. Does the job fine, but if I'm being honest, I've just changed it to a little silver drip tip. Just think it looks that a little bit nicer. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the black one. That's just my personal preference. So filling, exactly the same as the Vision V1 and the Vision V2. It's basically screw off the top cap, which leaves you with a nice gap around the centre post, and you can just get your juice of choice, which mine is a natural tobacco flavour, which I've been really enjoying. So basically you just don't get it down the centre post, because that won't do it any good. Just onto the side and just slowly, just let it run down the side of the tank. There's no need to rush, it's quick anyway, so just fill this up. I'm going to fill it to the 2mm mark. Just check I didn't get any down the centre post. No, all good. So as you can see, hopefully I'm just on the 2mm mark. And then on with the top cap. And that's it. You're basically ready to go. One thing I have noticed when I've been using this, and I thought I'd mention this in the close-up shot, when I've took the drip tip off on the inside here, I was getting a little bit of juice. Now I did get that in the V1 and the V2, so it's nothing new, but obviously bear that in mind. Just, you know, once a day or something, just take the drip tip off and just give it a little bit of a clean out so it doesn't end up dripping all over or you're getting juice in your mouth. Okay, so that's basically what you get in the pack, and how you fill it, basically. So, okay, let's go back and I'll share my thoughts on how I've actually been getting on with this. Okay, so that was a closer look at the little fella, or the Mini Vivi Nova. As I say, you know, the design's changed a lot. They've given us extra wicks on either side, and again we've gone back to the long wicks. You know, we started off with long wicks in the bigger versions, then we went short wick, and in the Mini we've gone back to the long wick. It holds 2 ml of juice, which is a day's worth of juice for me, so that's not too bad. You know, I like tanks that will hold at least 2 ml, because I'm not having to, you know, fill them halfway through the day. They can get me all the day through work, so that's a good factor for me. And the good factor is, again, it's the wicks. I found with the other Visions and the other Vivi Novas that I seem to have problems with wicking, and seeing 8 wicks, 4 either side, instantly made me think, have they had quite a few complaints about wicking, so they've chucked in some extra there to help sup up the juice. Now, has it done the job? Well, I've been using this for a few days, and I'm yet to have a dry hit or a dry burn. So far, I would say the wicking issue for me has been solved. Froze the vapour out, absolutely froze it out. One thing I will say, the same as the other two, it sups the juice. It goes through it like it's water. I can go through 2 ml in this in half a day. So what I was saying before, where I like a tank that will hold at least 2 ml because it'll get me through the day, this would only last me half a day. So it's not a tank I could take out and use while I was out and about. It's just a tank I could use at home in the evenings. But saying that, I struggle to get along with the other two versions, the V1 and the V2 in the bigger tanks. Dry burns, flavour. The throat tip was always good in the other two. As it is with this, I get a really nice throat tip. The flavour from this, now I use this juice a lot, so I know what type of flavour I'm expecting, and I get nice flavour. Is it better than what I'd use in a Bose cartomizer tank? I'd say it's on par, to be honest, which I'm surprised I'm saying this, because people who know me know I have struggled with these Vision tanks. So the flavour's good. Throat tip, like I say, good, and the vapour throws it out. Just let that clear a minute. There we go. Now, like I said in the close-up shot, this is the... oh, it's labelled as the 2.4 ohm wick. Now, I'm hoping you're going to pick this up. I'm going to check the resistance. What's that saying about 3? It usually is. I'm hoping it picked it up. .7, 2.8. Yeah, before I got 2.8 to 3. So it is higher than what's actually on there. So if you do get one, if you've got the option to check the resistance, obviously have a look. You don't want to overset it and burn the wick and coil, because trying to get rid of burnt taste isn't easy. So my impressions of this from the 2 to 3 days use I've had out of it is a massive improvement on version 1, a massive improvement on the version 2. the bigger tank versions. I couldn't get along with them. This I can. This I've been enjoying using. Great flavour, great throat tip, and amazing amounts of vapour that I'm pulling out of this. I can't fault it. I've had no leaks, nothing. I'm very surprised with it. Clouds.
Well, there you go. That was Dougie's thoughts. We're going to take a short break now, and then we'll get him in here, shall we? And we can swap notes. So, see you in a couple of minutes.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tap Box.
Do you want your cash to scratch a little bit further? Do you want a safer SIG? Then you need Safer SIGs, a proud sponsor of VaporTrails.tv. Go to www.safersigs.co.uk, stretchy man not included.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tap Box.
And look who I've got with me. Hey, Dougie, how's things, mate?
All good, Dave. All good. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad, you know. Usual hectic weekend. You been to any christenings this weekend? Because I know you like to go to them.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Cool.
Which I'm glad about, because I had too many in the last few months.
Okay, well, we saw just before the break there, we saw your little VT that you did and your thoughts on the Vivi Mini Nova 2mm tank thing. And, okay, it looked, from what I saw, that basically it was quite positive. You seem to think it was all right, that.
Well, I went into it, you know, with the experiences of the last two that we tried, which, like I say, I couldn't get on with. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise for me, so...
Okay, well, I recorded a VT myself, as you know, without having watched yours first, because I think that works best then, if we don't sort of prejudice each other. And you're about to see my VT for the first time, so sit back. I'll see if I can find it. I know it's in here somewhere. Make sure I don't show yours again. This is what I thought. Okay, so enjoy. Okay, so this is the 2mm Vision Vivi Nova set with a long wick, as it's called on the Vaporstall.com website. And I mentioned the Vaporstall.com website because it was a Bathy from Vaporstall who gave me and Dougie one of these at Vapefest last week and said, see what you think of that. So this is what I think of it. I've been using it now for about a day since I filmed that little setup that you've just seen. And my first impressions of this are, it's not bad. So when I say it's not bad, what does that actually mean? Okay. These tanks that sprung up a few months ago with this kind of centre post with the replaceable head sort of design, like you saw in the close-up footage just now, they first appeared, I think, in these Vision Ego clearomisers, and this is a version 1 Ego clearomiser, and it kind of worked pretty well actually, but it cracked and leaked. Then came the Vision Ego clearomiser version 2, which wasn't bad actually. Then came, or about the same time I guess, came the Vivi Nova tank version 1. Followed fairly quickly, if I recall, by the Vivi Nova tank version 2. And now we have what I'm calling the Vivi mini tank. Just some sort of specifics. The replaceable heads on these, they fit the Vivi Nova tank version 2, which is not that one, it's that one. They're quite hard to tell. So the replaceable heads on here will fit there, so they're interchangeable. So if you had one of these, you can use the heads in there. One thing that is different is the wicks are short on the tank, the ones I got with the tank, and they're long, as you saw with the mini tank. But in terms of the performance of all of these devices, so far I'm finding this one is better. They're learning as they go. In terms of filling it, you saw how easy that was. It really was easy. You literally twist that top off, fill it up and put that top back on. I chose to put my favourite drip tip in there rather than use the plastic one that came with it. Plastic one's fine though. So in terms of, getting it going, doddle. In terms of how it actually performs, I've got to say I was slightly surprised. Dougie told me I'd be a little bit surprised, and he was right. The flavour I'm getting from this is actually pretty good. It's not quite comparable to dripping, but it's getting close. I would say the flavour from this is as good as a Bogue cartomiser, for example. So if you're using Carto tanks at the moment with the Bogue cartomisers in there, then I don't think you'll be disappointed with the flavour you get from this. But my biggest gripe with the ones that we've had so far, whether they had the long wicks or the short wicks, is wicking. Having to do this, wait for the juice to get sort of properly absorbed by the wicks, wait a while to get a decent drag before it goes dry again. But this one, I think they've actually cracked it. I think they've got it right. This one wicks. So I'm on my second tank full now. I've refilled this once. I'm about halfway down this one, which constitutes just over a day's vaping. And I haven't had a single dry hit yet. Since I filmed the close-up stuff that you saw yesterday, I've upped the voltage on this to 5 volts because I noticed that although it's a 2.4 ohms on the replaceable atomizer head, it was actually metering out at about 3.2 ohms. Higher resistance means less power. So I upped the voltage using the Provari. I'm putting 5 volts to it now, and it's actually nicer. I'm struggling really to say anything about it. I've found no real flaws with it yet. I'm using this, okay, it's got a 2mm capacity, and if you've been using like a bigger Carto tank or one of those Raptor tanks that I looked at a few weeks ago or something like that, then you could think it's a bit of a faff. But I'm still using this really strong 45mg juice. I'm using less of it, so 2 mils gets me through the better part of a day. Well, like I say, it's been about 24 hours since I first set this up, and I've done about 3 mil, bit more maybe. So it's it works. It just works, and I'm really struggling for anything else to say about it. I'm just looking. The retail price is a tenner, £9.99 from Vapefest. I'm sure you'll be getting them from other places, so you know, I've no idea who does the best price or anything on that. But I have to say, I think they're just about there. Now, if they could get like a larger capacity tank that works as well as this smaller one, I'd say that they have totally cracked it. But in terms of performance, this one works. I'm pleased with it. I like it. Vapor production's pretty good at 5 volts, isn't it? With the 2.4, which is really a 3.2. Well, that's my opinion. I'm filming this as part of a double sort of headed review that I'm doing with Dougie for Dave's Tackle Box on vaportrails.tv, which will be broadcast on the 2nd of September, Sunday the 2nd of September 2012. If you're watching this live as part of that show, I'm about to join Dougie, and we're going to have a chat about them and see what we found out since we filmed these. Until then, thanks for watching. Oops, I just started choking just as that ended. Seamless, Dougie. Okay, well that was my thoughts on it as well. I just want to deal with a comment that popped up in the chat room there about we should fill these tanks with blue cheese juice. And, you know, I think it's fairly obvious that that's not going to happen. Why would you ruin a perfectly good atomizer? But anyway, so it looks as though we both had quite a similar sort of view of that, Dougie.
It does.
It's the best of the Vivi thingies so far, isn't it?
By far. Like you say, on your video, they're just about there. Hopefully, they continue going forward and don't take a step back like they did from the V1 to the V2, because the V1, in my eyes, was better than the V2.
Yeah.
They seem to take a step back. Fingers crossed they don't do that this time.
I don't know what they need to work on next, because they're pretty close with this, I think.
Just make a bigger tank, like you say, you know, possibly a 3.5mm tank, you know, same size as the other ones that they've released before. Keep the gubbins in the middle exactly the same, 4 wicks either side, and we're good to go, I think.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
But yeah, very impressed. I know I'm going to get ribbed off Vaping Daz later on, because I've took the mickey out of him for enjoying the Vivis before.
Right.
So he's going to get his own back, I'm sure.
No, you can still point out that it was the old style Vivi before, you know. So you can still do that.
He won't let it go that easy.
He probably won't, really. One thing that did amuse me in those two VTs as well was as we were setting them up, the first thing we did was stick our favourite drip tip in there.
It just, I mean, mine's a cheap 99p plasticky silver thing, but I don't know if it's, you know, something that's ingrained into me. I just like something to be, if it's silver, stick something silver on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree with that as well. I just
There's nothing wrong with the tips that obviously come with it. They do the job, and I keep them. But I just did.
Yeah,
but yeah, that
I
was
keep
funny.
them, but I'm not sure where. Probably in this pile of stuff on my desk somewhere.
I've got a little white tub that I chuck them all in, so they don't roll around.
I've got a desk. There's not a space for anything to roll around on here anymore, so it seriously needs a clean up. It could be a forthcoming feature on VTTV as well, because it'll be a bit of a project when I do decide to tidy it. God knows what's in that pile. Right, let's take another short commercial break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we can continue our chat. See you in a couple of minutes, folks.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
The GG, because you want one. iVapor and iVapor Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's ivapor.co.uk and ivapor-elixir.co.uk. iVapor and ivapor-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of vaportrails.tv.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
You working up a fog in there, mate?
Yeah, it's getting a bit misty.
I thought it was just a bad internet connection. I think it shows we're on now. Well, okay, right. So, the Mini Vivi Nova, Mini Nova Mini thing, right? Okay, so it at one sort of level, it appears that to come up with a tank that actually performs, they appear to have had to sacrifice the capacity. So we hope that they come out with, as you were saying, the 3.5mm one that works as well as this in the future. How much of a trade-off do you see that as at the moment? I mean, does that make it viable for you still, the 2mm tank?
Yeah, I just use it in the evenings.
Yeah.
It's not an issue because I take out a different type of kit when I'm at work anyway, or if I go out, so it's not really an issue. But I can go through 2mm in an evening in that, which that's my only issue. It sups it.
It does seem to. I don't know, but it must be going somewhere.
It's going in the flavour. I mean, they're getting there. I can put up with that. There's actually something that works from them in my eyes. I can put up with the extra juice consumption if needed. Not a problem. I'm just glad, finally, you know.
It works.
Yeah.
You're not frightened to take a drag because the next one might rip the back of your throat off.
I'm actually enjoying using it. That's the good thing. That's the main thing.
Well, I had to go
really
out and do
nice
a bit of
flavour.
shopping earlier, and I think I mentioned to you last night when we were chatting, or maybe it was earlier, but I've been playing with this steam machine rebuildable thing. I've played with rebuildables in the past, and sort of, to be honest with you, they haven't really done it for me, but this one I'm quite liking. So I went shopping earlier, and this is what I carried around in my pocket. But in the car, in the drinks cup holder in the car, which is designed for your e-cig, I've decided, I've had this setup, the Pravari with the Mini Vivi on the top, and it's nice to know while you're driving along you can just reach for it, press the button, and it's going to work. You don't have to tilt it and wait, and for fear of just getting like a gob full of noxious fumes.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a plus point. No noxious fumes.
I agree totally, because with the other two, I used to have to lie it down when I wasn't using it. Now I can just stand this up, and I'm not getting any dry burn, so no fear of it rolling off the desk or whatnot.
That's a good thought as well. I don't recall any problems or any serious problems with leakage on the other VVs, to be fair, but it's worth commenting that this one...
Just a bit at the top, I found, but it doesn't leak out, it just sits.
It sits under the drip tip.
Yeah, and you just mop it out once.
So I've got the two VV big tanks here, which you may just about be able to see. But these, you can tell by the colour the liquid in them has gone. It's gone black. They're things that I tried with, but basically quickly moved on to something else, and they've just been lying there a while. So looks like tar. What's in there
mine out,
but they haven't leaked. They've been lying there and they haven't leaked. Well, this is exactly what I should do as well, and it is on my list of things to do. Right after I empty this tank and this one, this square Cyan Mods tank has been full of something, I don't know what, but probably for 6 months.
I mean, it's probably
to put a positive spin on that. I'm testing for leaks, and mostly they're quite successful. There's also a DCT here, and that totally wicked Odyssey tank thing. There's probably some more if I dig around.
Never had any issues really with leaking from tanks.
This one, the Cyan Mods glass one, I know you've got one the same.
Yeah.
I never got the replacement O-rings for it to make the proper seal. So that one, it's not so much a leak, but the carto slides out too easy and then it leaks. So I need to sort that
off
out.
The top?
Yeah, exactly. So if you try and unscrew it, half the time the tank slides off the carto, because the seal isn't. It was something they knew about pretty early on, but because I'd had the caps from day one, when the glass tank eventually came out, you need to sort of change the O-rings a bit to make a tighter seal.
I never changed mine. I just left them. My tank does spin, but I just stick on a Ming drip tip so it can't get past it. And it seems to get a little bit of a better seal as it dries out, after it's been on there for a little bit, an hour or so.
This has been lying here for some time now, and it's still pretty sort of easy to move. So,
right.
But,
maybe mine are just a little bit thicker from the batch, I don't know.
Anyway, Dougie, as always, it's brilliant to see you. I'm going to say goodbye to you very shortly, but it's quite good because you'll be able to tune in and watch the Vapefest 2012 Happy Vapor Report, which I know you're very keen to see, considering you're in it so much.
Yeah.
I'm making no claims at all to this to being some kind of editorial brilliance. Basically, it's a miracle, considering how much we drank, that there's any footage at all.
I'll second that one.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into the Vapefest 2012 footage. Dougie, we'll see you next week, mate.
See you later, everybody.
You have a good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Decadent Vapors have given us 1,400 bottles of Vapefest Velvet, the original, the ginger version. Thank you.
Tell us where you've come from.
Greece.
You came back from Greece.
Back from Greece, left the family, and
what was the weather like in Greece?
42 degrees.
Is it better here?
Much better here. Well, now we're at Vapefest, of course. Yeah, much better. Fantastic. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
I'm sitting here with Chris, who's about to show me a mod which is slightly unusually shaped. Chris, what is it?
We've got 4 woods, although we're going to have more at some point. So that's utility, which is light mahogany, and then we've got walnut, oak, and beech.
That looks lovely, that does, the walnut.
Yeah.
It's the Boss, B-O-S-Q.
B-O-S-Q.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's a guy who makes cabinets, but he also makes guitars. So it's perfectly suited to making a mod.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you basically, well, you probably use a coin, but in here is an 186. So I'm not going to screw it because I can actually show you it working. But basically, there's a chamber in there to take an 18650,
right.
and there's a horn switch on there, and then.
And it just sort of works.
It just sort of works, nice and simple. But you feel that it's nice in the hand.
It is lovely, that is.
And actually, you can use it either way, and it's all right. So
I love the inlay there.
yeah.
Just get that up to the camera. There's a sort of inlaid bit.
But obviously, because we're like with Brit Vapes, it's nice to actually make a mod as well and experience the journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of making one. So and the guy who made them can also work with plastics and resins and possibly metal as well. So
right,
the future could be very exciting.
Well,
so, yeah.
thanks very much.
Yeah, lovely. Cheers.
Cheers, Chris.
All right, nice.
500.
What is it?
That's a Super T 18500
right.
with a kick in it,
right,
and a Cisco HH357 long barrel atomizer hybrid.
And how does it work?
Pretty well. I find the kick gives me misfires.
Mine does too.
But what I have to do is press it a bit. Turning the switch on is always a good idea. There we go.
Did you see them? Yeah.
Well, here I am at Vapefest 2012. It's been going a couple of hours since they let everybody in. There's a big marquee out in the gardens there, full of vendors and people, and I've been here about 3.5 hours so far, and I spent the entire time saying hello to people that I haven't seen since the last Vapefest or the mini meet. It's been absolutely brilliant. Just had a wonderful bacon sandwich, and I'm going to go around now and see if I can get to talk to some people and just basically enjoy myself before I win the raffle. Catch you in a bit.
So I've just been asked to bring my camera because Darren is going to get Dougie to try something. What have we told him was in there?
We haven't told him what it is yet.
We haven't told him what it is yet, but that looks like some kind of clearomizer, it's a VV thing.
It's a Visudigo V2.
Right.
It's got some juice in it, which I think Dougie is going to love and appreciate.
Okay, Dougie, good luck.
I've not had these. No, I've had Presidente. I've not had the Presidente vibe.
You can do it. You see,
That's a money shot.
what Dougie lacks in size, he certainly makes up for in balls.
Fantastic. Are you going to tell us what's in there?
That is Mercury Ice from Vapor World, from Paula.
You said you'd tell me the delectable.
Yes, the delectable Paula Mercury Ice.
And there she is. She's in shot as well there. Yeah, lovely. Well done, Dougie.
And what's your feelings about today's Vapefest?
Fantastic. Great turnout. It's my first one. Yeah, first in the next meeting. Here I am, Vapefest 2012 at the Moathouse. Same as last year. Feels like I've never been away in some ways. So, sorry. Cut. And there you go. That's it. That's all I got. And one comment I need to make on that. There was spotted in there Liz, who does the YouTube channel Vaping Point with vaping for the over 60s. Wonderful interview with a really lovely lady, and the audio was unusable. So that's all I could really use it for. So I'm going to get in touch with Liz and see if she'll do an interview for me for a future show. Now, how are we doing for time here? We must be getting fairly close. I'm just going to sort of wrap up and draw a line under Vapefest 2012, UK Vapefest 2012, that is. And I want to say, because I understand that the Vapefest committee are standing down, and you know, who can blame them? They've put it's been pretty much the same team as put together the Vapefest for the last 2 years now, and yeah, I'd want to rest probably if I'd done that, but somebody will pick up the mantle, I'm sure, and I'm already looking forward to Vapefest 2013. But before then, we've got Vapefest Ireland in 2 weeks' time on the 15th of September. We've got the Knees Up on the 13th of October, and then date to be fixed, but it'll be in Tamworth. It'll be somewhere around mid-May 2013. I'll be organising another Midlands mini-meet. And there's other stuff around as well. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get details of all these meets that are going on and have a sort of roll call every now and then, I think. But that pretty much brings us to the end for tonight.
Can I say thanks very much for watching? I understand there's been a few sort of internet connection problems around the UK tonight, but you know, that's why we do the podcasts and the replays, folks. So hopefully you'll be able to get to watch this. I've got to get out of here because they're kicking me off the air. Thanks for watching.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tap Box.